Hi, and welcome to my series where I review the Capital District's birding scene to find cool places and birds. And also hopefully gain support from a company that will send me free stuff, because the birds are free, but the equipment sure is not. Sorry for the delay on this one. I went backpacking through Maine this summer, and while I'm not going to make a video on that, I did want to share that I did find a Canada jay along my trip, which was pretty exciting in New Hampshire. I'm out at the Corkscrew Rail Trail. It is right along here. I think it's Wamanack Road. The parking space is pretty good. There's room for about 3 or 4 cars. And it's up on your left when you come off of Route 22 into Steventown here. It's got some trails. It's just one main trail. You can go that way, I believe, but the parking space on the northern side is really rough. There's like just the side of the road. So I come down here to the middle entrance, which is the southern entrance, I guess. I'm just going to be doing the southern portion, but I may go north. We'll see. First up, and perhaps most common for me this year, the gray catbird, which is always delightful to find. I continued along the Corkscrew Rail Trail here, trying to spot any other birds I could find, including a yellow-throated vireo, but it was hard to see. The trail is nice, but it is densely packed with foliage on either side, and there are other properties. It is certainly a location to go and hear birds, for example, this veery that I got a good picture of, but it is, like I said, dense foliage. This chestnut-sided warbler was flooding around, difficult to spot, and never really got a good picture of him. Hearing is great, visuals not so much. And so for the first mile or so of the trail, it's well maintained. You could easily take a stroller on it if you want to bring little kids, or if you're a little bit unsteady on your feet. It is definitely a trail to go and follow. There's actually a little picture walk for kids to enjoy with as well from the Steventown Memorial Library. But as you get past kind of some of the benched areas in the fields, the trail begins to get a little bit rougher. It's not been mowed. There are some trees down and pricker bushes and raspberry bushes, as you can see here I'm enjoying. Get a little bit more dense, and you have to move around them. So when all is said and done, the Corkscrew Rail Trail is a nice trail to visit. It's not the best for birding. You will hear, not necessarily see. I actually have heard a water thrush, both Louisiana and northern before, earlier on in the spring, but it's not a go-to, must-have destination on your list for the Capital District. Up next is the Hand Hollow Conservation Area in Columbia County. Hand Hollow Conservation Area with a nice big sign. Easy to spot from the road because of that nice big sign, and it also includes this large information sign right next to the large parking lot. And once you walk in, you do see the usual suspects, including these gray catbirds, American robins. There's also numerous tree swallows, as well as a American goldfinch hanging out in the trees. And very near the parking lot, there is a little small viewing area for a portion of the pond where you can watch things like this red-winged blackbird, as well as get eyes on this eastern kingbird. And I actually did hear a swamp sparrow at the same time as well. And to my surprise, a wood duck, female, that came out of kind of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that. Leaving the main kind of pond area behind, I continued on the hike through the woods. The trails at Hand Hollow are wonderfully maintained. There is gravel put down in certain sections. There are rock builds up to prevent any sort of flooding, doing damage to the trails. Very easy to go over. Further along, I did hear and see this blue jay, as well as red-eyed vireos, and both a wood thrush and a hermit thrush at different points. I stopped about halfway to observe this conflict between 2 tree swallows as well, determining who got to roost, or at least sit, in this tree for a period of time. Well, I'm hiking out here. I do want to do a little PSA and remind everybody that if you see a spotted lanternfly, and I'll put a picture of it right here, crush it, destroy it, They're terrible little bugs, and they need to be stopped. So you can do your part by just stepping on them. That's it. That's my little PSA for this day. Back to the birds. This lake that's at the top here is making the hike worthwhile by itself. Cedar waxwings, tree swallows, eastern kingbird, yellow-throated vireo, and just a fish that keeps jumping out. It's beautiful. Here. And veeries. Here. And I did get some beautiful pictures of cedar waxwings. These are some of my most favorite birds. They're just so pretty. and it was really great to see them in this little bush doing what they do. While walking at that body of water, I did accidentally stumble upon this great blue heron, and it flew away, but there were actually two at Hannah Hall Conservation Area. This first one I did manage to get a picture of. I reached the end of the trail up towards the lake there. There's actually another parking area, so you can approach it from both sides if you wanted to. But on the way back out, I was running Merlin and got flagged for a purple finch. I looked around pretty quickly and managed to spot this fellow in the tree, which I immediately sent to some friends of mine, and we had a discussion about whether or not this was a house finch or a purple finch. I did manage to get a couple angles of the bird as well, as you can see here. I've tried to enhance some of the photos to give you guys a better look, brightening up a little bit without changing the colors too much. This first one here, kind of taking on the back half, noting that red that goes down the back as well as on the feathers. I'm not trying to influence anybody's opinion or alter it in any way to convince you it's a purple finch. And I also did alter the next photo you'll see right here, which does get a better view. What convinces me for the most part here is that really deep red all the way kind of through the head there, and then that notched tail, which on a house finch is not quite so notched. Let me know what you think. I went with purple finch in the end, but if anybody else has a better opinion or can explain it to me better, I'm more than happy to go back and change my eBird. Our last visit for this video was Cherry Plains State Park, which is of particular note for me because it keeps popping up with a particular bird that I need for my county list this year. You see, somebody keeps reporting a winter wren somewhere on the canyon trail. The easiest way to get to this trail is to hike the Charcoal Trail. Now, the last time I actually found one of these guys was actually in New Hampshire, up on top of Mount Lafayette, which was a pretty difficult climb. And I've been wanting to hear it since it has such a beautiful sounding call. Here, listen. Before I'd even entered the park, though, I managed to spot this broad-winged hawk hanging out on a telephone line just outside the entrance, peering down at probably some prey. Now, the trails at Cherry Plains State Park are not the best once you get beyond the traditional campground, although I did manage to spot this brown creeper near the canyon trail once up on top of the mountain. And he was hopping around, having a great old time. I watched him for a little bit, moving around pretty consistently. Very fascinating bird with that long beak and long tail. Once I had left the main trail behind and hit the canyon trail at the top of the mountain, coming back down through where it actually does become a small gorge where there's water, we began to hear the sounds of the winter wren. You can actually see me here. This is the picture I believe my wife took of me finally hearing it and taking a second trying to spot it. Didn't see it, but that's not an issue with the winter wren. It's so loud and continuous with such a distinct song that didn't really need to spot it to identify it. And mission accomplished. And on the way back down was a usual typical fare of woodland birds, common yellowthroat, black-capped chickadee, and actually at one point a blue-headed vireo made an appearance. So that was always delightful, and I enjoyed it. So where does Cherry Plains State Park land on the list of places to visit in the Capital District for birding? It's a favorite of mine. It's not often visited, so the crowds are not an issue, particularly during the spring migration period. You just have to park outside the campgrounds. It's pretty easy to access. The road to it can be quite barren and look a little backwoods if you're uncomfortable with that. But once there's plenty of trails to hike on. It's actually the first place I got a scarlet tanager earlier this year in New York State. And it's got a wide variety of birds given the right time. I do recommend it, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. And maybe to entice you a little bit further, here's a recording I have from the springtime at Cherry Plains State Park. This was overlooking on one of the points, and what was just hundreds of tree swallows congregating over the lake, getting as many bugs as they could, spiraling up in these huge columns. It's quite delightful.